Shabbat Shalom, everyone. A few years ago, I was walking along Riverside Drive one afternoon, and I heard a tweeting sound. At that time, I had set my phone to tweet like a bird every time I received a text message. So I took my phone out, I checked it, and I was surprised to see that there was no message. So I pushed the button on and off, see if I was somehow missing something. Again, no message. I heard the tweet again. Still no text message. It took me a good 3 or 4 rounds of this to realize that those tweets weren't coming from my cell phone. They were coming from a real live bird in Riverside Park. My brain had become wired to hear tweet and think that the more likely option in my day-to-day life was a text message from my phone as opposed to an actual bird singing good afternoon to his friends. There was a poem that made the rounds in mid-March, already 2 months ago, back when New York City was just beginning to go quiet. You may have heard the poem then, but I'm going to share it again, because I've been thinking about it ever since. Friar Richard Hendrick, a Franciscan priest-friar in Ireland, wrote this poem entitled Lockdown. Yes, there is fear. Yes, there is isolation. Yes, there is panic buying. Yes, there is sickness. Yes, there is even death. But they say that in Wuhan, after so many years of noise, you can hear the birds again. They say that after just a few weeks of quiet, the sky is no longer thick with fumes, but blue and gray and clear. They say that in the streets of Assisi, people are singing to each other across the empty squares, keeping their windows open so that those who are alone may hear the sounds of family around them. All over the world, people are slowing down and reflecting. All over the world, people are looking at their neighbors in a new way. All over the world, people are waking up to a new reality, to just how big we really are, to how little control we really have, to what really matters, to love. So we pray and remember that yes, there is fear, but there does not have to be hate. Yes, there is isolation, but there does not have to be loneliness. Yes, there is sickness, but there does not have to be disease of the soul. And yes, there is even death, but there can always be a rebirth of love. Today, breathe. Listen behind the factory noises of your panic. The birds are singing again. The sky is clearing. Spring is coming. Open the windows of your soul, and though you may not be able to touch across the empty square, sing. After so many years of noise, you can hear the birds again. Yesterday, I received a WhatsApp message. That time really was a message on my phone from my uncle Ira in Israel, and I'll read it in Hebrew, and then I'll translate it for you. He wrote, ציפור תפילת מנחה. כל יום בשעה שאני מתפלל מנחה בעת שקיעת החמה, אני שומע ציפור שר. כנראה להגיד לחברה שלו, הגיע הזמן לחזור לקן. A bird's mincha prayer. Every day at the time that I pray mincha, the afternoon service, as the sun sets, I hear a bird sing. It's as if to tell her friend that the time has come to return to the nest. And I recorded the song this evening. I'm going to play the bird song for you now. Why am I sharing with you these stories, poem, and recording of birds singing today on Erev Shabbat before Shabbat Behar-Bechukotai? In Parshat Behar, God tells the Israelites that when they enter the land that God will give them, the land shall observe a Sabbath of God. V'shavta ha'aretz Shabbat la'Adonai. This becomes known as the Shemitah year. For 6 years, you can sow, you can prune, you can gather, but in the 7th year, the land shall have a complete rest. Shabbat Shabbaton yeh la'aretz. It's not difficult to extrapolate the wisdom here from our ancient text and to relate it to our current reality. The earth itself going quiet. The economy slowing down. Year after year, you can sow, you can prune, you can gather, you can toil, you can climb, you can progress. But eventually, the land shall have a complete rest. V'shavta ha'aretz Shabbat la'Adonai. The rabbinic commentator Sforno adds that during the Shemitah year, the farmer, instead of serving the soil, which requires cultivation, will instead turn his efforts to serving God directly. Just as the weekly Sabbath is a day set aside for intensive service of the Lord, so the Shemitah year is to serve that same purpose. The farmer can serve God anew when he no longer is bound to the constant needs of his soil. The land can serve God when it is given time to rest. And we, the inhabitants of a modern land at rest, know that when the land rests and when our mind is at rest, we can finally hear the birds. And we can allow ourselves to imagine, even just for a moment, that the birds we can finally hear singing are offering their mincha prayers to God, and they're singing to us. Shabbat Shalom. I also want to invite you to check out the 2 additional videos that we're including here in this Friday newsletter, which are recordings of the 2 Anshe Chesed Hebrew School Tekes Aliyah, Stepping Up ceremonies, which concluded our year of Hebrew school learning together. I found the Tekesim to be incredibly uplifting and inspiring, and I hope that you will as well.